original coach, Mark Faisano, came out from Georgetown. Just put a bulletin up on one of the bulletin boards saying crews coming to Santa Clara. All those interested come out. So he got in the end, about 22 interested people, and put us through the ringer for about 4 or 5 weeks, and weeded out the chaff. And we didn't even have a boat, any oars. Nobody had ever seen a rowing shell before. And Stanford was good enough to loan us an 8, and Cal loaned us some oars, and we were off and running.
Our sports spotlight is beamed in on Santa Clara University. To Bay Area residents and many sports fans across the country, Santa Clara suggests baseball and basketball, maybe even football. Athletics at Santa Clara, however, means many types of sports, including several that can be quite surprising, such as crew racing. One of the best-informed staff members associated with the rowing program is Jim Farwell.
I got involved. I was the first captain of the crew when it was founded in '65 for the first 2 years, of '65 and '66. And then I graduated in '66 and went on to graduate work and went into the Army. And
what did you take at school, anyway?
I was a history major and then went into graduate work in counseling psychology. And then did my 2-year hitch in the Army infantry. When I came back to school here, and my heart is crews in my blood. And I might add that all 3 of our coaches, we put in about maybe 40 to 50 hours a week between the 3 of us out here, and we don't get paid for it. And it's just a labor of love. I think it's great.
When was the first crew race you ever saw?
The first crew race I ever saw was one I was in.
From 1 borrowed shell or 2 borrowed shells, whatever you had the first season, you've gone to a boathouse now full of equipment, more or less. How many shells comprise the 1971 version of Santa Clara crew?
Well, our flotilla consists, we have 2 racing 8s, and they're all Pocock boats. He's the only real manufacturer that's of any worth in the United States from Seattle. 2 racing 8s and 2 coxed 4s and a costless 4 and a couple of pairs and 2 singles. All in all, an 8 is worth about average of, say, $3,200 a piece. So it's quite an investment to try to get something going.
I would say so.
Each one of these oars here is about $55 a piece. And if you hit a log out there and snap the blade, you're out good money. And as you saw out there today, it was a little rough, so you really couldn't even see where you were going or what was in the water.
Now that we've talked about the flotilla, how many of these compete in an average afternoon's racing?
It just depends. We usually 8s and 4s are usually the main events. There are some, like we'll go down to San Diego's Regatta and up to Oregon States, and they'll have pair oars and double sculls and single sculls, and you name it. If they've got it in their boathouse, they'll row it.
What kind of guys do you look for as crewmen? Big, husky guys, little guys?
Well, it's most of the people at UCLA and Washington, they won't take anybody under 6 feet. They have a measuring stick in their registration line, and they'll grab a guy that's 6 feet or over and give him the big pitch. We take almost anybody who wants to row. They instigated a lightweight program on the West Coast as in the East Coast, where you can be 160. The lightweight is 160 pounds or less, and so we basically have a lightweight program and a heavyweight program. We look for somebody that has athletic experience, but that's not a prerequisite because almost everybody that's involved in crew on the West Coast has never really rowed before, no matter if he rows for Cal or Washington or us or Stanford. And
they don't have any high school programs?
Very few. Up in the East Bay, they have several high schools that row, but that's about it in Northern California, whereas in the East Coast, every high school has a crew. And they're
Do you think it's growing on the West Coast?
Oh, I'm sure. When we started in '65, we were the 9th crew to start, and now there's 22 in school.
Is that right?
Ranging from University of British Columbia in Vancouver all the way down to San Diego. We start practice the second week of school, or about the first week of October. That's
like your season starts.
Our season starts now. It takes such a tremendous amount of endurance and physical strength that you have to start building early, or you'll just be left behind.
Yeah.
And 80% of the power of the stroke comes from your legs, and then the rest comes from your back and your arms, which a lot of people don't understand. But since you row on a sliding seat, you really have a lot of leg drive.
That's the thing that you have to realize. That
right.
Seat
It's not like a
back and forth.
It's not like a rowboat where you're just sitting on a plank. The seat goes back and forth, so you really you get in a tucked position like a diver, or a fetal position,
Yeah.
and really jam those legs down. That's where most of your power comes from.
How big a schedule do you have for 1971?
We,
School-wise.
school-wise, we have 11 races. We go against, this Friday, we go against University of Oregon here at Lexington in Los Gatos, and next Wednesday we go against Pacific Lutheran here, and then that Saturday is against Stanford, Oregon State, and USC at Stanford. Then after that, University of San Diego comes up here to races at Lexington. Then we go down south to San Diego and race most of the Southern California schools, UCI, UCLA, Long Beach, Loyola, UC San Diego State. We've had our ups and downs. We get the oarsmen themselves raise about 80% of the $6,000 to $8,000 we need each year. The school's athletic department tries to help out, but their concern is with some of the bigger sports.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of extracurricular workings rather than just row.
You mentioned the 65 crew. How large a group was that?
That was only 22 fellows. As I said, this year
Stayed with you for the season.
stayed with us for the season. This year we have 36. We've had as many as 50 or so, which is compared to, say, like Washington or Cal, who has up to 80 or 90 rowing at one time. Like last week, we have 12 freshmen rowing, and Cal has at least 3 boats worth, I think. And I got, after our Frost beat Cal last week, I got a call from UCLA and Seattle wanting to know what happened and how we did it, et cetera, et cetera. And they were really excited at the fact that we had knocked off Cal. It's the first time we've beaten Cal in 8s in 5 years. We'd beaten them in 4s before, but never in an 8. So it was quite gratifying. They've been with it now for 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And they get bored usually around the beginning of February, but the closer they get to the racing season, the more jacked up they get and ready to go. It takes a lot of enthusiasm to row over the 2,000-meter course, which is about a mile and a fourth. Actually, it's a mile and 5/16.
And how long does it take them to?
Usually, like we raced 6:13 up against Cal, anywhere from around 6 minutes up to 6:20, depending on what the wind condition is or the tide condition, which we don't have to worry about here at Lexington.
A lot of your conditioning is running then, isn't it?
Pretty much,
really?
pretty much so. We try to encourage the fellows to run 2 miles each day. It's kind of hard to get everybody together to do that because of classes and labs, and they spend so much time out here trying to row, because it takes about 20 to 25 minutes to get from school to here and then to back again. So that's about just a little under an hour. It just takes some transportation to get here.
Dick Wallace here at Lexington Reservoir at the foot of the Santa Cruz Mountains next to Highway 17. To watch Jim Farwell and his Santa Clara crew is inspiring and exciting. In the Bay Area, rowing is not a glamour sport, and it does require monumental dedication and a great deal of hard work. I'd like to thank Jim and his oarsmen for their hospitality and cooperation. We'll be seeing them in rowing competition on another Spotlight on Sports program. We'll have more sports action after this word.